what it is today there. So as far as our era, again, we are all just coming into, vogue of all of the original icons here, original house starters even becoming icons, because again, we were already behind New York. And that's why when we started, it was our desire to learn as much as we could from the region. But again, because of the situation we were placed in, we had to figure it out on our own. And that's where Waddell Avant-Garde comes in. That, and also, I failed to mention, all of the contributions of icon Aaron Enigma, because Aaron Enigma has went back and forth to New York many years, and again, he brought back as much information as he could too. So, and he's also one of the regional historians.
Work. Now,
as far as the trophies and things like that, it's not all about how many trophies you win on the runway. And I'm going to tell you why. Because previously I talked about the stifling of talent. And what happens is, because it has always been known that the amount of trophies you have, that's going to get you your status much faster, and people have become so satiated by that, that's what helped create, that nature of the good girlfriend Judy crap on the judges panel, where if we're chopping all of the good talent in the building just so only members of our house can be on the runway, then how have we really recognized the true talent in the ball scene? That is what has been going on, not only here in the Midwest, but also on the East Coast too. We used to hear about it all the time, and we thought we had guarded against it, but eventually it crept its way on into the system here, and lo and behold, you still have people thinking you got to have 4,000 trophies and you're going to instantly get your status. No, it doesn't come with that. The first and foremost is the time period. There's a time parameter on every single status that's out there. And in most cases, most people didn't even know what those time parameters were as far as status. Now, for those people that don't know or that have been confused for years, and you still may be confused, but in the Midwest, it's a whole new ball game and a whole new set of rules, and they're not going to be confused anymore. And when it comes to legendary and legend, those are two different statuses. For some reason, people kept mixing those up. And that mix-up was a direct result of kids leaving from the Midwest, going to the East Coast, learning about status, but coming back to the Midwest, and then to get all discombobulated.
Wow.
Now, to be a legend. Now, statements and stars, those are the newer ones. To be a star, that's 1 or 2 years doing, just walking in a regular category. You're still considered a beginner. To be a star. Now, to be a statement, now you're at 3 going on 4 years, still doing the same thing. You're walking, you're winning, and even if you're not winning, you're giving a show, you're memorable, you're all of those things, and you become well known. Now, when you are legendary for a category, you have walked that category for 5 years. That doesn't mean that you slayed and walked in every category and you won every single category. Yeah. Because if somebody won every single category, every single shot, every single time they won, I need them to give me the Powerball numbers. Nobody's that lucky.
Okay.
That's where the good girlfriend Judy stuff come in. Now that you were legendary for that category, and that's at 5 years. Now remember, I said it's time first before anything else. Now that you're legendary for that category, to be a legend, that means that from 6 to 10 years, you have continued to reign in that category. And you're also starting your plight to become community-oriented, as well as learning the history of that region. and anywhere between 6 to 10 years. But most of the time, it's at 10 years that legends have been being legends. Now, when it comes to icons in the Midwest, because we were already behind as far as the status for icons, it had been decided a long time ago in the beginning that for us, it would be anywhere between 15 to 20 years, because we were trying to play catch up with the East Coast, although at the time we had no idea we would never be able to catch up, because the East Coast had decades of ball scene activity than we did.
Right.
So some people in the region ended up being deemed after 15 years. On the other hand, people like myself had to wait for 20 years, because that's what the rule all of a sudden became. You had 20 years. And then if you're going to be admitted into the Midwest, not the East Coast, the Midwest Hall of Fame, it takes at least 25 years. What that means is you become an icon, and now between 5 and 10 years after that, you've done something that's memorable and is community oriented, that now you're recognized to be placed in the Midwest Hall of Fame. Now, there's been rumors of the Midwest Hall of Fame floating around, and of course, I don't recognize it, because from what I heard from the people that's supposed to be in it, it doesn't make sense. The first person that's even up to be a part of the Hall of Fame in this region happens to be Wardell Avant-Garde. That person's not even in this so-called Hall of Fame, that we have in this region. So if he's not in it, how could anybody else be in it before him? And he's really the father of the region. So again, along with those different statuses come different responsibilities. And what we try to do here, my house and the House of Omni, we started an initiative called the Andromeda Omni Initiative, in which we tried to coincide it with what was going on in New York when they deemed 29 people at the New York Awards ball, I believe it was. And we were trying to do the same thing here, but we ran into problems, or rather I ran into problems, because you had a whole lot of people who didn't want to stand up and recognize that some of these people who should have been deemed hadn't been deemed, and some of the people that had been deemed shouldn't have status at all. And our goal was to try to balance the scale, because whether people want to believe it or not, and for those people who claim status is nothing, status is at the heart of all of the unnecessary drama that's occurring in the scene in the first place. So there you have it. That's what status means for me as a regional icon, and that's what I, teach to all of those ballroom parents that are part of my region, because I'm even starting my own additional region within the region.
All right. Care to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, this summer I'm going to be, my new region is called the Midwest Northern Ballroom Region, and it consists of Twin Cities, Minnesota, and Milwaukee. Most of those children out there, I've been to both of those states on several occasions, and I have a good rapport with them. And because, like I say, once you become an icon, you're no longer the icon of the father of your house. You're an icon of a whole region, and you have to be responsible. If you're not, you're part of the problem, and you probably need to go. So for me, because I know of all of the good girlfriend Judy crap that had been going on, because my house was a very victim of that, I advised my two states not to even come to any functions in Chicago if they don't want to waste their time or their money, because that's a waste of time and money to travel all the way from those two states, or to any state for that matter, and you not have your true talent recognized because some girls have had a pre-party the day before and decided who they're going to knock out the box so that only their houses can be standing in the end. And that's where that part comes in again, where I said I do not like the category grand prize is the house with the most trophies, because when you have grand prize with the house with the most trophies, and if that house is hosting the functions, what are the chances of that house winning grand prize? Sounds like a scandal to me. So to prevent...
Okay, the same thing happened in New Jersey and Florida.
Huh?
Same thing happened in New Jersey and in Florida.
Okay. See, and that's sad right there, because what that does is that destroys the essence of what our ball community could actually be. There's no reason why, now we shouldn't be having full-fledged programs on TV like voguing championship battles that are in a series on TV at all. But the reason we can't have that is because when people or sponsors, especially corporate sponsors, when they look on YouTube, they're on Facebook, and they see all of the different stuff that goes on the negative side of the ball scene, the first thing they don't want is their name to be connected with that, especially if they're a big conglomerate. They don't want their name to be connected to it. And the ball scene, in some circles, have, the same aura as if rave parties. And that makes a lot of corporate companies not want to be associated with them until, someone gets in there and shows them that, look, this isn't what houses or the ball scene is all about. You've only seen one aspect of what the ball scene is about. It's no different than a NASCAR racing. They have parties before NASCAR racing, and people are wasted and doing all type of crap. If everybody believed that those people that were at those parties before were the scum of the planet, then you wouldn't have nobody sponsoring the NASCAR racing either. But there's always double standards when it comes to the LGBT community.
Right. Now, how do you feel about, a board team developing for the ballroom scene and controlling the ballroom scene and deciding how to build a platform to keep the structure of the ballroom scene alive? How do you feel about that?
Okay, I believe that each distinctive region should have, their own ballroom committee to help pretty much not control houses, because you really can't control a family, but to offer some type of stability so that there's a standard set at when people go to balls. You have there are two things. There are two mechanisms working that involves the ball scene altogether. You have the ball itself, and then you have the family component that's a part of that ball. Even if that whole house doesn't come to that ball, if they're truly a family, they're still a family anyway. So I would not want a board to control what's going on in that family, because that's a family thing and they got to work out their own problems. But when it comes to the ball and how things should be ran, yes, a board could work as long as you have people on that board that aren't showing favoritism to different people within that community. If you're going to be in that type of position, or if that type of position is going to be set up, it needs to be a type of position where people truly, honestly trust that the next man sitting next to you on the board has enough sense, just like you do too, to come up with good ideals that can benefit everybody. And it shouldn't be that the board belongs to one person, and if that one person has an attitude, nobody on the board does anything. Well, that's not a board.
Right.
That's somebody who just created a high guard of another house, and it's consisting of all legends, pioneers, and icons. And if they can't get their way, they throw a tantrum, and everybody else is thrown in a tailspin because somebody else is upset. That's crap. That's not a board. If you have a board, there should be a board in which everybody has a say. It should be a free space, in which